Hi everyone, my name is Leah Kopke and I have a 3D modeling podcast. In this video, I'm just going to go over a quick fix for a common 3D modeling problem that people have while sculpting with stamps. So you may have trouble using the drag rectangle option or the drag dabs option while working with stamps while sculpting. And this is really common with many of the brushes inside of Cinema 4D. So I took a snippet from another video that went through all the settings for the draw tool brush just to make this simpler and easier for you that are just looking for this quick answer. So let's go ahead and go through it. I am dropping in a new cube into my scene and I'm going to set it up about the same way as before. Hit C to make it editable. So now we have this cube, and if we were to use our draw brush and drop a stamp in here and I'm just going to use this pattern here. So now we have a pattern in there. You'd think that if you decided to use the option drag rectangle or drag dabs, this would work on this rectangle now. This would work on this cube right now, because in theory, all you need for drag rectangle or drag dabs to work would be to add in your stamp image here, you'd think. But there's a little bit of a catch to this. We have different draw modes, and by default we use this one here, freehand, and that's the most common one. However, there are times when you might want to draw out a texture, and that's where draw rectangle or draw dabs comes in helpful. And I've noticed that this tool doesn't work unless if you hit this unsubdivide button here. And then you click on this new one and hide the original. Once you do that, you are able to use drag rectangle on it. And that's how drag rectangle is supposed to work. In theory, most of the sculpting tools work on a mesh regardless of if it has this sculpting tag added to it, which is what is added when you hit the unsubdivide. So that's a little bit of a bug perhaps that I found. And we're actually going to go more into depth of what the subdivide and unsubdivide are within Cinema 4D for sculpting pretty soon. But that's just something I wanted to show you, just because I found that really kind of unintuitive that that's the way it works, and it's not something they point out in the manual to you either. So even if you went through the trouble of reading the manual, that wouldn't be clear. But that's what you need to do for that to work. And I just like to go through a little bit more of what these draw modes are and what exactly draw rectangle is. And I'll increase the strength here a little bit, increase this. But when you click and drag your mouse, you'll see the texture starts to appear. You can rotate it by moving your mouse back and forth. And you can see this update pretty well before you let go. And you can see here that our fall off is being added, and it's grabbing our settings from our stamp. So if I turn off the fall off and I click and drag, you'll see that updates accordingly. Our fall off is no longer affecting this pattern. So this can be really interesting and helpful for adding textures to objects or adding in some little imperfections and details. we have some more options for the draw mode, and these draw mode settings are all under the settings tab. Freehand is the one we're used to. That's it there. You have drag rectangle that we went over, drag dabs. You basically can drag the texture wherever you'd like and let go, and that's where the texture will live. You may be able to see this a little bit more clearly if I make the size bigger with my right bracket. And once you're ready to place the texture, you can. I hope this helped answer your 3D modeling questions. I have a podcast where each week I go over another 3D modeling tool for Cinema 4D, and I already have 78 episodes, so hopefully if you have any other questions, one of those will help you in the future. It's been fun 3D modeling with you, and hope to see you here next time on Ambient 3D Animations. Here's the link to the full episode if you're curious, by the way.